The reason why this podcast sucks and we have no fans is because Rick and Damn Duper talk way too goddamn much.
This week, one of our own fought coronavirus. They said he was obese. They said his diet was poor. They said he was inviting COVID by his behavior. They said hosting a COVID fondue party was a bad idea. They said be afraid of the virus. Greg wasn't afraid to catch COVID. COVID was afraid to catch Greg. And when it did, Greg beat COVID's ass. Greg didn't let the virus dominate him. Greg dominated the virus because he's a goddamn hero. This is a true story of how Greg stuck it to COVID. Welcome to the Greg COVID special!
I don't know why we had to do all that. I'm talking through a mask. It's the COVID special, so I thought I'd start with my mouth covered. Greg,
I just want to say thank you to my glorious podcast production team. There's never been a greater intro made in the history of intros ever. Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't be afraid.
Duper Productions came through for you there.
That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, American hero here. Look at him. Look at him right now. Look at him. He's just an American here. All those chins.
And the pajama bottoms he's wearing.
I've always said for years that when I die, I want to play Freebird at my funeral, but now I think I want to replace it with that. I mean, that
was just I got something special for you when you die, dude. Don't worry. I'm working on it right now.
Thanks, Boo. Appreciate it.
Well, welcome everybody. We are doing a bonus episode. Greg did get COVID. We talked about it the last couple episodes. He's feeling a lot better now, so we thought this would be the best opportunity for us to go through and actually focus on COVID and Greg's experience, what he learned from it, what he gained from it. He gave us an encyclopedia of questions that we are allowed to ask him. We are not allowed to deviate. They've all been approved. But
he is, just before we get into it, he is kind of like one of those high maintenance musicians that comes in. He's like, dude, I need to pick out all the brown M&Ms, no brown M&Ms in the dressing room at all. And these are the only questions you can ask me.
The room
I need 16 ounces of mineral water.
72.3, not a 0.1 more or less, because it's not good for the corona.
Have you seen my chins? Do you think this guy would complain about what M&Ms are in my dressing room? Like, let's just be honest here.
Did you gain a chin during COVID, or did you lose one?
Well, I think it's like a hybrid. I think I gained it, and now I'm kind of like balancing out again. But yeah, so, and they're not really questions, Rick. Okay, they're just so much notes that I had that I wanted to make sure I talked about them all. So
617 words, by the way.
Yes, is it 654 words? You guys didn't get the final edition.
He never even wrote that much in high school. I don't know how he did it now.
I don't. Well, it's not spelled correctly, but it's there,
and it's in crayon.
Like, where did you find the crayon font for Microsoft Word?
I do have the first actual COVID question, though, Greg.
Yes.
Did you intentionally get COVID just so you could have a whole podcast dedicated to yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Because you guys talk way too goddamn much, and so I just wanted to take about a good. I hope this show lasts 2 hours, just 2 hours of nothing but Greg talking. I think that would be the greatest thing ever. What do you think?
I think people would tune out right about this time point.
Yeah, they've actually just shut it off. Thanks a lot.
Right now.
So,
right now.
Getting to Greg, let's just start it off. Real basic background. How did you find out you got it? What's your background on this?
So thank you, Rick, for asking the first of 600 questions. So basically to begin, and I know I talked about this in other episodes, but basically since the pandemic, my wife and I literally have done like nothing. We don't go anywhere. We go to work, we come home. That's it. When we're always out in public, we're ensuring that we always wear PPE.
This is kind of personal. Do you wear a mask when you guys have sex?
Yes. 2.
Top and bottom. So yeah,
I don't mean just like the paper bag that she usually puts on your head. I mean, do you wear like a proper mask because of COVID?
Absolutely. I wear the bag and the mask because I'm sure nobody would want to look at this face while having sex with this.
Okay,
So
so
yes,
follow-up question here. Do you wear socks?
one white and one black.
So you're wearing socks, a chin diaper, and then a mask,
Yes.
and then a bag.
Yes.
And that's how Heather can
And
tolerate
I
having
got a
sex.
certain jar from Integrity Farms as well.
That's
Oh.
about as safe as you can get.
Are the lights off too?
Wow.
Oh yeah, they're off.
Lights off. The windows are painted black. There ain't no light getting in that room.
No.
No.
But anyway, yeah. So we've always been, and my wife's a nurse too. So and it's now her former job. Thank God she quit that place. But dude, she got it because they fucking are a bunch of fuck nuggets at her old job, and they allowed a dude to come in who they knew had COVID, but they didn't disclose it to the workforce until like way after the fact. So she basically came home and was like, "Oh, I feel like shit, and I just got told that a patient I was dealing with had COVID, and now I can't smell, I can't taste." And I was like, "Well, shit, go
So
get tested."
at that point, for real, Greg, what was your first thought process there? Like, were you as worried? Were you as anxious? What was your feeling there?
So yes, I am a little worried. My wife is also a breast cancer survivor, so I know that even though it's been 5 years or more now since she actually had breast cancer, it's still kind of that fear goes through your head, right? You're like, shit, now she has COVID. And regardless of what people's thoughts are on it, you're like, the fear is there. But at the same time, I'm a person who just like wants to work through any problem that comes in front of me. So I was like, go get tested. I mean, that's the only thing you could do. And she got tested, and then literally 2 days later, I got it. And I mean, that's
So,
how quickly it spread. It's crazy.
do you feel like your response to this would have been different in April versus today? Because, I mean, we know a lot more about the virus now, right? We're a little bit more educated. Do you think you would have been more freaked out at that time?
Possibly just because the unknown is always scary, you know? But I think my response and her response to it would have been the same. I mean, she was basically from day one wearing a mask, you know? Whereas me, I was like, nah, I'm good. And then I waited for things to escalate before, it was probably well into April, May before I started wearing mask out in public, where she was doing it in the beginning of March.
That's totally backwards. Because again, I'm gonna make the same shitty joke, but you should have been wearing masks for years.
The entire time. Yes. I couldn't agree more,
So
That's
you
the
were,
reason why my daughter won't come around you, is because she's terrified of your face.
Just
well,
a
yeah.
chin.
So, yes.
Just the chins. Just the chins.
Yeah, your daughter's what, 2? And I think I've seen her twice. So I see her once a year. So that's probably why, because she doesn't remember me. I would be afraid of me too.
More than enough to fill her nightmares for an entire year. Just one time.
Good
Yeah,
job.
I know.
Greg.
even more than
I should
even
be
more than a
kindergarten
tattooed
teacher in France.
Frenchman. Yeah, I was just gonna say. I got a question though. So okay, so day one, she finds out she's been exposed. Did she find out that same day that she was exposed?
No, she found out like a day or two after.
So you guys had 2 whole nights where you guys slept together, didn't know, and she's breathing and it's getting around the house. And do you have other people living with you? Have roommates or kids? What do we
yeah,
tell the people?
We have one other person lives with us. It's her uncle actually lives with us.
What's his name and social security number?
So his name is Christopher Columbus. 967. Well, I don't know, but anyway,
I can't believe you have that racist in your house.
Wow, that escalated quickly. All right.
Jesus.
Can I go to my safe space, even though this is
No, this is your special. You asked for it. This is what you get.
I know, right? I feel like I'm doing a fucking presidential debate or something.
You don't have a
So
phone in
okay,
your
so
head.
you guys had 2 nights. You guys slept together. Your uncle's in the house. You guys are touching surfaces. You're eating things. You're all around each other.
Sounds so
clue,
sexual.
and maybe there might have been a little something freaky. But yeah, so she finds out, and then what did you do there? Because we talked about what you did in April when you found out she was exposed. What was your first reaction?
So, like I said, there was a little bit of fear there, just because of her history. But like I said, I'm a guy who, and you guys know this about me, like when there's a problem in front of me,
You
I just
hide immediately.
You run like a bitch.
wow, thanks guys. So yeah, no, so I'm just like, look, go get tested, because we can't do anything until we know specifically what's going on, right? Um,
How did you guys quarantine from each other? I mean,
yes,
because that's kind of hard, right? Because you want to. That's the hardest thing because you want to take care of your wife, right? You want to be there to support her and help her through it, but then she doesn't want to pass it on to you. So you guys did quarantine.
yeah, from the very beginning, because she was, because I mean, at the same time too, and I know we talked about COVID shaming last episode, but she kind of felt like shit too. She's like, oh fuck, now I have this because of my shitty fucking job. And now like my family's gonna more likely get infected, and so from the very beginning, she was already doing this anyway. At least once a week, my wife would go and like wipe down all the handles, and all touched areas in our house, and she kind of like stepped that up, and I was doing it too, and then she was sleeping in a separate room, and we were kind of being separated. But at that point, like Rick, like you said, it was like 2 whole days. So I just kind of was like, you know what, yeah, you could separate, um but I'm probably going to get it no matter what. Now I know that's kind of hard, like, because we don't have kids, right? It's just me, her, and her uncle that live with us. I can't even imagine if I had a kid, like if I was in your situation, Dupe, with like a small child, and I'm like, well, shit, I got COVID. How am I going to keep this away from not only my spouse but my child?
It's
So,
impossible because that
yeah,
happened to
yeah,
me in March or April. You guys remember when I got tested, right? Because I got the flu, and my test came back negative. But it was literally impossible for me to fully quarantine. I would sleep in a different room. I'd keep my distance as much as possible. But for a full quarantine, my wife had to work while I was watching the baby at times. It just wasn't feasible.
yeah. And I know that there's some people who are like, yeah, I've been sleeping in my garage and things like that, but I will say, man, that isolation and quarantine, it does work, because her uncle who lives with us, he's been, I mean, he always is in his room no matter what anyway. But
Trips off a lot, huh?
he, knock on wood, hasn't gotten it yet. So hopefully it stays that way. And the only way that he hasn't gotten it is because he's totally been in his room away from us. So it does work, but it's kind of impossible, like, when you're, with your spouse in the same room, and or if you have children, things of that nature. But
So
my thing is get tested ASAP, man. Don't fuck around. Don't delay getting tested.
How long did it take you to
question
get the
there.
test result back?
Yeah, how long did it take, and did she have symptoms at that time?
So yes. So she got tested, and well, because she's a nurse, she had to go to like a specific testing location, but she got her results back in 24 hours. I've been tested twice. So this past time, and then there was a time where I thought I had it a couple months ago, and each time it took me about 3 days to get my results. But I will say in that time frame, and I know some people are afraid of getting tested because they're afraid of like a Q-tip going up their nose, and it's really not that bad. And now they have tests where it's like a mouth swab now, like kind of
And
like a DNA test.
my understanding is it depends on the nurse that does it, right? Because some people are just kind of rough with it with that Q-tip, and they come in and they actually get you pretty good. But my
Yeah.
experience was very gentle too.
Yeah. And when I got it the second time, I actually went through like a drive-through one. And what they do is they give you the kit, and then they tell you what to do. And I was the one who was sticking the swab up my own nose. So, I mean,
That's not the first time you've done that, though.
no, well, with blow and stuff, but that was back in the 80s. But
Well, hyper ass 6-year-old Greg
yeah.
running around.
All right. So
No.
what was Heather's first symptom?
So she had nausea, or not nausea, but like a sore throat. And then she had a runny nose. And then she told me, she's like, I can't taste anything, and I can't smell anything. And I was like, all right, well, you probably got it, because I know that they pretty much say the minute it turns into you can't smell, you can't taste, then chances are you probably got it. And just because of how she was exposed and her symptoms after that, that's why I told her, say, don't fuck around, go get tested. And even that was a pain in the ass from her work, by the way. But she got hers quick.
Well, run us through that. Why was that a pain in the ass for her work?
So, like, I don't want to get too into it. And I'm not going to disclose where she worked, but dude, they from the very beginning, dude, her work was stressful. I mean, I am better protected at my job than she was at her job, and she's a nurse. Yes. So, but dude, like they would just hide it. They wouldn't disclose like when other employees got COVID. The administration's people, to them, it was just all about admitting so they can get more money. Because obviously the more people they admit, the more money they make. And that's all they cared about. They didn't give two shits about their employees. I'll just leave it at that. So it was a shit show from the very beginning. And then her trying to report it and then figuring out, I got to go to this location, which is completely on the other side of town. And it was just stressful, but dude, this thing spreads quick, man. I mean, within 2 days I had symptoms,
2 days of her symptoms.
2 days. Well, 2 days from when I told her to get tested. Yeah.
So yeah, you don't really know when she's going to spread it, huh?
No.
Yeah, you can't know that.
But you always have to go off I think it's the day before you get tested is the day that they go by for your 14 days.
One of the weirdest things, and I understand it, but when you think you have COVID and you go get the test, your doctor, your physician, they won't even see you when you have COVID.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's kind of weird in the middle of a pandemic, and I understand it because they don't want to expose themselves as well. And I mean, in turn, they would be exposing all their patients. But it's kind of ironic that when you need medical care and you need somebody to kind of, look at you, make sure you're okay, you can't get it right now.
I think it's a testament to what this people asked for years, right? We always theorize all these different things that happen, or what's going to happen when there's a pandemic. These are these things that nobody talks about, right? These don't show up in the movies. They don't show up in the books, or when people, theorize what would happen during a pandemic. Nobody thought about the fact that you can't even see your doctor. And that's the one person on this planet you really, really need to see. And you don't get that luxury. And Greg, you still haven't seen your doctor, right?
No, not at all. So and I don't know how healthcare is out there in California, but and I don't know what your experiences are out here, Duper, but dude, I can't just call today and go see my primary doctor today. Like, I have to make an appointment that's like 2 months at least before I can go see my primary doctor. And that's just the state of healthcare out here in Vegas.
I personally don't go to the doctor. And my doctor was not that bad. I don't know what kind of medical plan you guys are on. That's terrible.
Yeah, I can go to
my doctor same day. But my pediatrician for my daughter, she got the cold. She got a cold last Tuesday. Stuffy nose, nothing big. And I couldn't get her to go see the pediatrician because he won't see her without a test first. And so I know it's just a cold. She doesn't have COVID, right? They're cold symptoms. It's nothing extreme. There's no fever. There's nothing aside from a slight cough, right? Pretty much no fever, nothing like that. But I can't get her to go see the pediatrician. I can't take her to school, so I got to stay home with her. It's kind of a weird position because if I go get the COVID test, it's going to take me 3 days. She's going to be over the cold. It's almost mute, right? It almost didn't make sense to do that.
Yeah. And that's just the state of the world we live in now. That's why. But on the flip side of that, though, there are other services like telemedicine and teledoctors and things of that nature that for most of your problems, they can help you out. But I will say, man, so I had at least 2 different phone calls and I think 3 different emails from the Southern Nevada Health District. And those guys have been awesome, man. I mean, one, they called me because they were like, hey, look, someone you've been exposed to tested positive for COVID. Obviously, I knew it was my wife, right? But they were there. Who was it?
Oh, beat the shit out. Is that Duper's neighbor? It's Duper's neighbor. God damn it.
It's spelled D-U-P. No, anyway. But they were awesome, dude. They were like, they gave me all the information, right? They told me how because at first I was exposed to somebody who was positive, and then obviously a couple days later I test positive. So then they called me back again, got more info from me, and they would send me all the notes and the notifications. I mean, my work is pretty cool when it comes to giving people leave for either pending test results, or if you did get positive, different leave categories and things like that. So I'm grateful for my job in doing that. But dude, the health district, I mean, dude, nice people. And I bet those guys get a bunch of shit because people are sick, dude. They feel like crap. The last thing they want to do is talk to contact tracers on the phone about who they were around, when they were around them, but dude, it's a critical job that those guys have because they're trying to prevent as much spread as possible. So
how many questions do they ask you?
Dude, I was on the phone each time, about a half hour each time. The first time it was just like, okay, hey, look, you were exposed. These are things to look out for. You can't leave your house until this date. Things like that. And then they give you like tips and tricks and things like that to help you out during quarantine, and things to look out for. And then the second time it was, okay, well, what symptoms do you have? How long have you had them? Who have you been around? What are their names, their phone numbers, email or physical addresses if you know them.
Did you have to answer those questions in front of your wife, or could you walk away from her?
No, I have an honest and true lawful relationship. So unlike
I saw where Duper was leading with it, and I was just kind of waiting.
unlike Rick, I have nothing to hide from my wife. So
Talking about.
yeah.
Rick's been trying to hide that dick and that A for a long time.
Ride that vein train to A-Town.
No.
Oh God. So okay. So now you've got it. I know we talked to you the day that Heather tested positive. I think we talked to you, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying, my throat's scratchy, so that's interesting. And then I think we talked to you on Wednesday because that was the day that we recorded our episode. Wednesday night is our meeting night, and when we talked to you, then you're like, I'm pretty sure I have it. And by the time we got through, what was it, another couple days, you're like, you text us and you're like, guess who's Rona, Greg?
Yeah,
So
I sent you a screenshot of my fucking results. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I put that shit up on my fridge, kind of like, a junior high report card or something. But
the one test Greg's ever passed.
That's
Hey,
it.
no shit. Junior high was the last time you got a test that you were proud of? Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
High school was rough.
Well, because college, you don't take tests in college, you write essays. So it's kind of different, But yeah, so you want me to talk about now that I've had it, like tips, tricks, stuff like that? Or
when you first got it, did you feel shameful? Like maybe you could have done something better to have not gotten it? Like, because there's a lot of shame that goes around right now, right?
There's a lot of guilt for everything. Like honestly, because I golf, right? And then Duper likes to try and guilt trip me about it every time.
I do. I'm
I
trying
mean,
to ruin
there
his
is a
life.
little bit of me that's like, man, I feel guilty because what if even though I know this is the safest I can be and I'm doing everything I can do, I can still bring this home just because I walked outside the house. And there's that little bit of guilt. So yeah, that's a good question. Did you feel guilty? I know you only go to work, man. Like you weren't really going anywhere else.
Well, I didn't personally because I was like, fuck, my wife has it. I know it's a matter of time before I get it. But the good thing that worked out for me is that I was already on vacation time from work, because I thought I told you guys this, but we were supposed to be in Disney World on vacation, taking a cruise and going to Disney World and all that shit. But I had to still take the leave because I had use or lose. So it had already been like 10 days or so from when I was actually at work. And I knew that I wasn't exposed at work. I knew I got it because of my wife's work, So yeah, I would have felt like shit if I was like, oh man, I was at work, I was around these people. Now they may possibly have it, but for me, it was the same people that obviously she lives with, I live with. So our circle was small of who we potentially disclosed. So I didn't feel bad about it at all. And part of that too was because, like I said, my work has been outstanding when it comes to supporting people who have been in this situation. And I know that's not always the case because some jobs will be like they tried to make my wife go back to work like 7 or 8 days later. And I was like, who the fuck does that? Like everybody knows it takes at least 14 days,
Yeah.
or 10 days at least, So, But yeah, no,
That's
I didn't have that.
the recommended guideline is 10 to 14 days. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
No. So for them to do that, I was just kind of like, well, that's fucking shitty. But it ended up working out because now she has another job offer from a different place that she's starting in a couple weeks. So that's like the one big blessing from all this bullshit, you know.
I don't know
Absolutely.
where she works per se, but that's kind of scary because you made it sound like she works in a place where it's like an assistant living type place. I'm making some assumptions. She's a nurse. That's really high risk to have her come back so early. That's kind of irresponsible.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and
absolutely irresponsible.
well, I'm not going to confirm or deny what you said because, like I said, I don't want it
Right.
to
Right.
come
Right.
back on her. But
With our
dude,
dozens and dozens of fans, you don't want that shit getting out.
yes, exactly. And well, I don't want any shame to come to her either,
No,
you
no,
know.
absolutely. I know.
But yeah, for them to like force her back into work, I'm like, dude, like what the fuck? And it's just because her old job, they're all about the money. Oh, dude, and I told you guys this, but I'll say it here on the pod too, right? So I guess with the company that she worked for, I guess there's, even though she didn't sign anything or anything like that, but evidently there's this golden rule that they have where like if you don't give them a 2-week notice, you cannot apply for any location that is ran by that organization, you know. So basically when she went in, because she submitted a 2-week notice, they never fucking got back to her or acknowledged her, right? So then she went in to go turn in all her stuff, and they were basically like, well, you know, you can never work for ABC organization ever again, right? And then she's
You
like,
work for
well,
Google?
Good.
yes.
Damn, dude.
Well,
Have
no,
you?
I can't confirm or deny Google, but yeah, but I'm just like, okay, so instead of threatening your people who are resigning, don't you want to figure out why people are resigning? Like, I don't know, that's just, you know, for me being in a management position, like that's what I think of when
So
employees want to quit on me. I'm like, okay, what's going on? You
here's
know?
my thing, and I'm sure people are going to ask this. This is why I want to just throw it out there and make that statement known that we're not all. Oh my god, just choked on nothing. We're not all dumb on this either. But
Rick's got
I mean, the stuff you're talking about, that is a very bad employer in a bad way. You know, like how do you say that without saying, dude, like I think we all have the same idea of what action should, you know, she didn't deserve that is the best thing to say. So
Exactly.
yeah, getting on the employer, because I mean there are so many things I want to say, but of course we don't want this coming back. So it's well thought of. So okay, now you're going through it. What are you doing to take care of yourself? How are you trying to keep yourself from going to the hospital?
All right, so I got a lot of things here, so just kind of cut
Oh,
me off
we
if
know you're
you,
long-winded.
yeah.
We're well prepared for that.
And he's
So
ready to read too. So
well,
god
I'm not
damn it.
going to read it word for word. I'm bullet points. But anyway,
just pictures.
if you don't already have one, it's a good idea to get a pulse oximeter, which is basically it's the little thing that when you go to the doctor's office when they're taking your blood pressure and stuff, they put it on your finger. And they unlike Rick where they tell Rick to pull his finger. The pulse oximeter it measures your oxygen rate in your body. And basically if you're consistently, and I could be wrong on this, I'm not a doctor, so please don't take anything I'm saying as medical advice, obviously. But my understanding is that if you're consistently at like 92 or below, then your body's not getting enough oxygen. So there's a multitude of ways that you can correct that. But obviously, if you're consistently under 92 or 92 or below, and you're having difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, stuff like that, then obviously go to the hospital because you're probably going to need to get oxygen. But things that you can do is there's breathing exercises you can do. So there's one breathing exercise where you take 4 deep breaths, exhale, and on the 4th exhale you cough, and that kind of helps move any type of liquid that's in your lungs. Another thing, which is you should be doing at least once an hour or two anyway, is you got to lay on your stomach. And preferably, on the floor, some type of hard surface. But if you need to do it on your couch or bed, whatever, but you need to lay on your stomach for about a good 10-15 minutes. I'd probably say every hour or two.
Do you think with that one, your wife was just fucking with you because she wanted to take pictures of you looking like Jabba the Hutt?
Probably, yeah. So
Did she when she asked you to breathe, did she say no, just go, but go
Does she have your roommate go sit next to her and laugh? Like Salacious Crumb? Does she dress like Princess Leia and
I was gonna
stand
ask,
next
is she
to you?
wearing like the bronze bathing suit thing sitting next to you? Yeah, you're doing great, baby.
I just made all these slithering sounds too, and fucking yeah, it was
No grabba da jabba da Greg.
But
Turns his
anyway,
camera off.
oh shit, my camera's probably gonna die, but my phone's probably gonna die, but whatever. No, but yeah, lay on your stomach, especially when you're sleeping too. Which I know there's some people out there who don't like to sleep on their
No,
stomach.
I'd
They sleep
die
on
before
their
I have to do
side.
that.
Yeah, but if you have this, you need to, man. You need to try everything in your power to do that, because if you're sleeping on your back or laying on your back all the time, you're condensing your lungs. You're not opening them up, which is exactly what you not want to have happen when you have this.
I got a better plan. I'm just not going to get coronavirus.
That's a fantastic plan. Obviously drink fluids, water, chicken broth, tea, Gatorade, things like that. To go along with the pulse ox meter, obviously everybody should have one in their house anyway, but check your temperature at least every hour or two. Now, just know that like me, I never had a fever, but some people do get a fever with COVID. So it's a good idea when you check your pulse ox, you check your temperature as well. And each of those things are cheap. I mean, you can get them for like less than $20. So it's always a good idea to have them just in case.
Did you ever have to go to the hospital? We know the answer, but did you ever get hospitalized?
It was close, dude.
What did you?
It was close.
Hospitalized?
Me.
Skajabula is hospitalized.
Fuck, dude. I'm sorry.
No, so there, and I texted you guys on this, but there was one time where it was close. Like there was one night where I was just laying on the couch, kind of taking a nap, and then she woke me up and she's like, "You're blue in the face," and she's like, "Let me check your pulse ox," and my pulse ox was at I think like 89 or 88. It was fucking real low. So she's like, "No, get your ass on the fucking floor immediately. Do these exercises. Fucking, lay on your stomach." And dude, it took me about a couple hours just to get my pulse ox up to where I was like in the low range, of where it needed to be. But yeah, that was like the one time. But obviously the last thing I want to do is go to the hospital, right? Because then I'm like, oh shit, I actually have it. What if I get somebody else sick? Not only that, but then I don't want to be in like isolation, away from fucking everybody, in a fucking hospital. Like that's the last place. But yeah, I almost did, but in my case, no, I didn't. Obviously, something else too is continue to wear your mask in your house, especially if you live with different people. Continue to wear PPE, which I know nobody wants to wear a mask when they're in their own damn house, but you need to do it to keep it away from other people.
Is it Gator Neck okay?
Well, as long as you're not like Sean Payton and wear it like a fucking,
They're not okay.
Yeah.
The CDC came out.
They've already come out. Yeah.
The CDC came out and they said, do not wear a gator neck.
No.
What happens is there are very fine fibers inside that gator neck. I mean, actually, when you sneeze into that or when you talk into it, that's actually doubling the amount of droplets that's coming out of your mouth on a gator neck. So what you want to wear is a good 2-ply mask, not 1-ply. You don't want just one piece of fabric there. You want a 2-ply mask to limit how much you're spreading.
Well, yeah, but at the same,
mask, you want a mask that if you can put a filter in, and that's even a paper towel, like anything that you can prevent to be able to get that kind of filtration is really important. I'm glad you brought it up because it's something that we need everybody to understand. Gators suck.
At the end of the day, something is better than nothing.
That's the point. Gator neck is literally worse. The CDC
Gator neck is literally the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, but something.
No. But something's better than nothing, right?
I'm not talking about myself, right? But like, what if I'm a different individual and I don't have a mask, and I can't go to fucking Walgreens or Walmart to get one, So in the meantime, until you can, like by either doing Amazon Prime or something like that, something is better than nothing. That's
do
the
not
point
wear a
I'm trying to
Gatorade.
make.
It's literally the opposite. You want to tie a shirt around your face. That's better
Exactly.
than wearing a Gatorade.
You would get a
Oh.
T-shirt. You would get a towel. You would find something to wrap
Find a
around your face.
sweatshirt, anything. That's going to be better than
That's
that.
the point I'm trying to get at. So anyway,
That was not your point, though.
moving on from your hatred of turtlenecks.
God damn it,
It's
Greg.
Gator necks.
It's Gator necks.
Specifically, it's
Greg,
Gator necks.
nobody
Check the
talked about
CDC website.
turtlenecks. What
You're
is happening?
our expert on this.
Didn't you research this?
Well, now I have dementia, so maybe that's another symptom. I don't know.
What we're learning is the adverse after effects of COVID-19 currently. So
yeah,
don't get that shit. It's terrible in your brain. It melts it.
Jesus Christ.
That's normal, Greg. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
You're a little different.
That's how you know I'm back to normal, right?
Hey, everybody, Josh is here.
Yeah, I said about 8 words now.
But going on, like, obviously get used to doing like grocery or food delivery services, because obviously you shouldn't be going anywhere.
Well,
and you're quarantined to your home location anyway. And most of those food delivery places, they have options where they leave your items outside or at your porch or whatever, so that way they can drop it off and then you can go get it.
Ooh, I got a question about that.
Yeah.
All right. So when you were doing your food delivery, were you just like, fuck it, and not really cared like who handled it? Like, because how I'm COVID conscious, Rick, right? And I'm like wiping shit down if I know another person's handled it that I don't know, little shit like that. Were you still wiping shit down? I mean, you already have it, right?
I wasn't, and I never did previously either. That just wasn't one of my fears.
They've moved on from that. That they're not recommending that anymore either, Rick.
I know. I know.
But
it's ingrained in me now.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Josh.
But, I mean, it's still important. I'll say it's still important to take precautions because you don't want to get the flu. You don't want to double it up. But go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry. I forgot you were here.
Can I say 4 more words?
You just did. So moving on.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That was 6 words.
No, what's up, Josh?
Speaking of, Fatty talking about food, did you have an appetite during the whole thing, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Normal appetite.
Fatty still wanted to eat. But the only thing that sucks is that at least for us, because I know Heather went through it too, is that we lost our sense of taste and smell. So don't go out and eat food that you're desperately craving because you're not going to be able to taste it. So
yeah, exactly.
After you got the test results back and you went to Olive Garden, did you have to tell them that you were COVID positive, or did you just not tell anybody?
I didn't tell anybody. I just used breadsticks as a measuring, like don't get within my breadstick.
Don't get within
what's 6 breadsticks
inches though, right? They're probably a little bit short.
Yeah. Well,
normal grade.
Let me see. Oh yeah. So another thing too is that when you're going through it, right? I think like on day 6, day 7, I was like, holy shit, I'm starting to feel like a human being again, right? And then it was like, I think 8 or 9, maybe even day 10. But dude, I just got hit out of nowhere. Boom. And that's what they're saying a lot of times is that, you'll go through it for like a week or so, and then you'll start to feel better, and then you'll just go right back to feeling like shit again. So just be prepared for that. Don't obviously leave your house or try to go do things because you have a little bit of energy, because just know that right around the corner, you're going to get hit again. And obviously you're still contagious. You could still give it to other people, which I wouldn't be surprised if other people were like, oh yeah, no, I feel okay. I'll just go here or there or, whatever. But
I
yeah,
agree with that. There's a lot of people out there spreading it. Whenever you go to the grocery store, there's somebody there. I assume somebody there has COVID. I know this is super taboo, and I'm not supposed to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it.
What?
I don't know. It's kind of taboo to ask the question, but can you compare this to like the flu?
Yes.
How was it as bad as the worst flu you've ever had? Was it worse? Was it not as bad? I mean, just kind of be honest about it.
So for most part, it's I've been sicker. I'll just put it that way. The thing that sucks about COVID, from my perspective, it's exactly the same. Like for me, when I get sick, the first thing I always get is a sore throat, and that's how I know, oh shit, I'm getting sick, right? And then comes the the snot buckets from your nose, and
Right.
then you feel like shit, right? And I still had all those same things. Just the only difference is I couldn't taste, I couldn't smell, and then also the fatigue. The fatigue fucks you up, man. Like you don't have energy. Sometimes like when you get a cold or maybe even the flu, you'll have your your spurts of energy, and then you start to feel good, and then you'll feel like crap, and just kind of goes on and off. Now with COVID, man, with COVID, other than like that day 6, 7 when you start to feel better, other than like that day or two, you get fatigued the entire time. And they say that it can take months before you really start to have your energy that you did pre-COVID.
That's perfect, because that leads into my next question that I had. What do you feel like post COVID? Because they talk about the crystallization for a while. They were talking about that in your lungs. They talk about the fatigue afterwards. What do you feel like afterwards?
Well, first, real quick, so I just want to close this out real quick. So the only other 2 points I have is and
No, we're going off script way too much.
Yeah.
You got to get back on the script, you sons of bitches.
I wrote
that's a
this.
valid
We're gonna
question. It's
read
a
it.
good question.
I'm just
but,
trying. I'm just trying to do the Mike Pence. Like, let me go back real quick.
I want to point out that we have probably lost every listener at this point because we were going fully scripted, which is totally cool. So
I haven't
Greg,
even
finish it up.
scripted. But anyway, no. So
Arthur, thank you for hanging in this long.
So make sure your significant other has access to your accounts. Make sure they can get into your phone. It's just something that we don't think about, right? Like we have our own phones. If you have an iPhone, you're used to it, using your face to unlock your phone, or thumbprint or passcode, whatever. But it was something I didn't think about. I'm like, shit, if I were to go in the hospital right now, like, does my wife have a way of contacting like you fucks, right? Or does my wife have a way of contacting my family? And it's just something you don't think about. And she didn't even think about it, So I think the first couple of days we just went with exchanging all of our account info, so that way we had it just in case something happened.
So when you were sick, would you actually let your wife drive a car?
Well,
are you asking Josh, or are you asking Greg?
Would you allow your wife to drive a car because you were that sick?
Well, I mean, dude, if I was really that bad off, I'd call an ambulance, right? I mean, it's not about
allow your wife to drive a car under any circumstances. It does not matter.
No, well, what? No, okay. Out of context. My wife is perfectly fine and able to drive a car. All right.
When you allow her to, right? I mean, that's the point.
When she's been given permission. Is that what we're getting told here?
Dude. Josh, now I know how you felt last episode.
Oh, but you don't know how Rick felt 2 episodes ago. You sons of bitches. Jesus Christ. So yeah. That is a good question. If you're going to go to the hospital, you're going to have somebody drive you there. You're going to drive yourself.
No,
you were just going to call an ambulance.
Well, depend. I mean, dude, if I'm
expensive,
if I'm on my deathbed, then dude, we'll fucking But if I'm able to drive, then I'll drive myself. But dude, there was a lot of days where I was like, dude, I don't even have the energy to fucking sit up right now, let alone effectively pay attention and drive a vehicle. How
are you feeling now?
I'm good. I mean, there's still some like the fatigue is still there. And I got something weird going on with my smell, to where like I have this like permanent like when you smoke, or like if you're secondhand smoke and you kind of get the smell of cigarettes. Like I don't smoke. I haven't smoked in like 6 years, but I have that smell stuck in my nose for some reason. And like any other smells that are like in addition to that fuck me up, and I have headaches, and it adds to my migraines, and that's weird. And other than that, the fatigue is still kind of there, but other than that, everything else is gone. But like I said, go ahead.
Do you think you could possibly get it again? I'm reading off your script.
Yes. Well, you don't have to read off my script, but
Well,
I mean,
let me
the
answer.
science is
Don't
showing,
think that just because you have it, you won't get it again. Not sure if current research shows that you are completely immune.
yes.
okay, so current research is showing right now your antibodies only last a couple months. So you're good for that strain for a couple months and you have a good chance of getting it again.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
still
mean,
new, right? I mean, it's like I would say we don't even have enough data to really know.
We don't have enough data for anything. We have to go off of what we can learn over a period of time, right? So remember, everything's fresh. A year from now, we're going to know so much more about this virus that we're going to be able to save lives, like honestly save lives and no shit. It's just we're not there yet.
yeah, I mean, and dude, well, I think we talked about it on an episode like a month ago or whatever, or I know we talked about it at least in text messages, but there was a guy in the state of Nevada. He was the first person in the United States to get COVID twice.
Right.
So yeah, obviously a different strain can be out there, but dude, there's numerous strains of every virus. You know,
Yeah.
like that's why Rick has like 4 different versions of herpes, and Duper's
different
gone
places.
gonorrhea 3 different times. So
And that's all in the same place.
yes,
Thanks for not getting what I have, Greg.
The crabs in his beard.
So yeah, so obviously still be safe, still follow the universal precautions, still wear a mask, gloves, wipe down your house. But the last thing I could say is and we did this yesterday, and we do it every time after we get sick, but we do a deep cleaning of our house, where we just, wash our beddings, we wipe everything down, we replace our air filters, we go the whole 9 yards on our house.
Greg, I've
we
been to
air
your
out,
house.
huh?
I've been to your house before, so I've never been to your house after you were sick, apparently.
Yes. Yes.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't even want to follow that up. That was pretty good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so anyway, and then also like air out your house. So the weather's finally getting to a
He's
point
still
now
trying to
where
put
we
together
can.
that joke. He doesn't understand what the fuck I just insulted him about. He's trying to figure it out. He's like, I don't understand, but I'll ask him about it later on.
Yeah. Give him a couple days. He'll get back to us.
Yeah.
He'll text in 3 days.
We're gonna record the 11th episode, and we're gonna be about halfway through, and then he's gonna stop and say, "Ha! You're an asshole." For no reason.
And he's gonna hear this and then have to explain it to him.
You guys think
you have to pull out a chalkboard and shit? Here you go, Greg.
You guys think that I care about what Duper says so much that I would remember what he said from even 2 minutes ago? Like I already forgot all the questions he asked me.
Dude, you've been talking for 45 minutes. I don't remember anything you said.
We gave you 47 minutes of talk time today.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't expect anybody to remember this. But
so can we break it up now that
what were we talking
now that Greg's got his time now. We have a really good story. I really appreciate you sharing it. I think that more people that do get it, if there was a way for them, an outlet for them to get this out to people so they can understand. I think the big thing here is it's not don't be afraid of this virus. It's not, a big deal, but it is a significant thing. I mean, Greg, we joke about all this shit about, look at how unhealthy he is. You quit smoking 6 years ago. You've been taking care of yourself. You go to the doctor. You do what you're supposed to do. You're relatively young, right? None of us are 40, but you got it and it kicked the shit out of you. Now imagine a guy like, we know a smoker, a pre-diabetic, a diabetic, any of these people that have just that little edge that the virus can have on you. Imagine what it can do. And that's something that I think about, like, shit, Greg, who's in better shape than I am, with my pre-diabetes and shit, like I that virus has an edge on me right now. And that's where I get all conscious and nervous about it. And then I have kids, and kids with things. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't know. I think it's a good time for everybody. Josh, what are you thinking since you've been relatively quiet?
I forgot what we were talking about.
Is this a regular podcast? I thought we were doing a special. I forgot.
Was this a meeting or was this a special?
You really don't. I really do appreciate you sharing your story, Greg. And I know we made light of a lot of things here, and we were honestly all worried about you. and we were wishing you get through that when you were sick. More so your wife than you, but we were wishing for
Absolutely.
you as well. Um, I think it's important to use a lot of common sense when it comes to this stuff, right? And I think we're going to learn some things to take forward in the future as well with the common flu and a common cold even, is that we were a little bit haphazard in the way that we acted sometimes. Maybe not washing our hands long enough or properly and things like that. Maybe being too close to other people at times. If you hear somebody coughing, maybe we need to keep a little bit of distance. I can't wait to see the PTSD at the Knights games when I go back and somebody coughs, everybody's going to hit the ground. Um, but it's important to use some common sense when it comes to this stuff. I don't think it's as deadly as they made it sound in February, right? I don't think that everybody's going to die of it, but I also don't think that if you're healthy, you can't die of it. There's a small percentage of people who don't have underlying conditions that can die of this. It can cause serious problems. So you never know if you're that one small percentage that can really affect.
There are several million people that have gone through this, and several thousand. Again, not to, this definitely doesn't need to be some kind of political debate, but there are a couple 100,000 people out there um, that are gone because of something to this virus, and those that get sick. So it is. We're getting distracted here. Duper's putting pictures of his daughter up. That's the big thing right there, right? But you're right, dude. Just be conscious, right? You walk into a grocery store, you go someplace, assume the people that you don't know and you aren't aware of how safe they are, they've got it. Stay the fuck away from me. Just do that until this goes away. If everybody did that for a little bit of time, this would start peeling back a bit. I really truly believe, and I don't know. Everybody pray for that potential herd immunity or that vaccine.
It's weird because like we've heard a lot of talk about universal masks within the United States and things like that. And I kind of just assumed that I had a lot of faith in the American people, right? I just assumed people were doing it. People didn't need to be governed to have the mask put on.
That's funny.
Because everywhere, no, Nevada, everywhere I've been out here, I've not seen people without a mask on. I've not. Have you, Greg, places you've gone, have you seen it? I mean, I've heard people complain about it, but I've not seen anybody actively not wear one.
No, I've seen people wear masks. It's just I've seen a lot of people not wear their mask properly. Where like you said, chin diapers and fucking everything else, which is just stupid, right? Like if you're gonna wear a mask, wear it right. And the reason for that is not only to help prevent you from getting sick, but also to prevent you from spreading whatever you have to everybody else. And that's going to be the number one thing on my mind, man. I go back to work next week and I'm just like thinking like, okay, some people may know, some people may not know. But I'm thinking about just coming up straight up and just saying, hey, look, I had it, I'm good. But if you want to be away from me, I totally understand, because I don't want to, create a bigger concern. Because, dude, I would feel like crap if I got somebody sick, dude. I'm like, Duper, you live out here. I don't even know when the next time I'm going to see you.
Never.
Just, yeah. And I hope. But I'm like, dude, I really don't want to be around anybody to get anybody sick. I mean, it could be like a year from now and I'm perfectly healthy and be like, I don't know. And that's always going to weigh on your mind,
You
But
really think so?
yes, it will. But I'm like that anyway, right? Like, I don't want to say I'm a germaphobe, but I'm always washing my hands, wearing, using hand sanitizer, things like that. Obviously I'm wearing my mask everywhere in this pandemic world that we are in, but I don't want to get anybody else sick, because you never know. And if there's one thing that this thing taught me, it's I think there's a lot of people that are not prepared for the worst case scenario. You got to be prepared. If your ass goes in the hospital and, it's just, what is your wife going to do or vice versa? Or, how are your kids going to take it if you, take a turn for the worse? So you just be prepared for that, because it was an awakening. And I'm telling you, the last time you want to think about finances or life insurance accounts or bills or anything like that is when you're going through COVID. So make sure you got that shit held, ahead of time.
Next time you guys get sick, just know that you can send me all that information as well, just so then I can safeguard it for you guys.
I did send it to you.
Okay. Is it in the mail?
Is that how you ordered my daughter her thing today?
That came from my Zelle account.
I cashed out his life insurance plan.
Okay, good.
All $10,000.
All right, so final thoughts, anybody? Wrap it up. Greg, you've kind of just said your piece there, and also for the last 50 fucking minutes.
Yeah, it was a 54-minute final thought from Greg.
It's the best. I'm happy now.
Thing. Don't
Oh my
shame
God.
people who've had it. There you go.
I'm
Support
ashamed of
them.
you.
Support
I'm so
them.
ashamed of you.
Dude, I told
Honestly-
my family and they still haven't replied to my text messages.
Dude,
Are you
did
serious?
they listen to the
Yeah.
podcast or no?
I don't know.
If they do, don't ruin our listenership. Dude, we love Greg's family. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for doing the show.
I don't
Very
think
great
any of
people.
them have listened to it, so we're okay.
Truly appreciate you guys
Oh, well,
listening.
Yeah, in that case, then fuck them.
Yeah, you're assholes. Pieces of shit.
But anyway,
Just
yeah,
contact
so-
your family. What the fuck? It's your family.
yeah,
Whatever.
But it does help when you're supporting others who've had it. So I said this before, but yeah, thank you guys for it. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. It really did make a difference, whether you think so or not. And thank you for allowing me to do this. And I just hope it helps people out there if they get it.
I truly echo those sentiments. Josh, you got anything else to say? Josh? All right. I think he said bye.
Oh, can you guys hear me now?
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
your
we can
story,
hear you
Greg.
now.
Oh, sweet. I haven't been able to hear 75% of the show.
No.
Thank
I
you,
can't hear
Spectrum.
Oh, I can hear him. He's recording.
Okay.
All right, Josh, say your parting thoughts. Sorry that you what?
I don't know.
Dude, can I say Josh's parting
Thanks,
thoughts?
Greg.
Yes, please.
All right, Greg, go ahead and say it.
I just want to say that
I
Greg
hope
is
he
the
sings
greatest
it.
human being ever alive. I'm so grateful that he was here today to share his story. I don't know where I'd be in this world today without Greg. I was devastated when I heard he got COVID, and I'm glad he's recovered. And he's just the greatest human being alive, and I love him. Thanks,
I
appreciate it,
second
man.
Do you have any parting words, Rick? Or are we
I was
taking it
actually
out
gonna
with the intro?
I was coming to you.
Oh,
Give it up, dude. Give
Dude,
it up.
I am just so excited to hear that intro again. That's the whole reason why I even did 57 minutes of this podcast, is so then I can hear 1 minute and 10 seconds of amazing audio.
Okay, that's a good closeout. I just want to throw out there, and I know this is totally unrelated, but it's very important. It's been 1,071 days since the Los Angeles Dodgers were robbed of their World Series. You know what's going to be great is we're going to be at somebody's funeral, and I'll be like, I just want to let you guys know it's been 3,600. Like, I don't want anybody to
They win a
forget.
World Series by that time.
Oh,
Do you-
I so hope so.
Do you guys want to set a new tracker for the day since Greg's had COVID?
No, we don't
No,
want the whole
nobody's
show to
keeping
just
track
be
of that.
fucking X days from this and X days
Oh,
from
you know
that.
what? You never even mentioned that. How many days are you on your tracker?
I think today's like 15, 16, somewhere in there.
So you're out of the woods. That's good. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, other than that, yes, please, people, fucking wear a mask, dude. There's not much to ask from you. Do it for everybody else. Remember that we've
But
talked about
also
that
don't
before.
shame people if they get it, right? It doesn't.
Yeah, it's
just
not their
because somebody got it doesn't necessarily mean they weren't doing the right things. It doesn't mean that they weren't wearing a mask.
In all
Doesn't
honesty,
mean they weren't washing their hands.
yeah, well, no. In Greg's case, it is because he didn't wash his hands after he peed and he touched his eyes. But outside of that, yeah, no, you're right. I don't agree with COVID shaming, but I will shame you if you're not wearing a mask in public around a bunch of people you don't know. Be safe for yourself and be safe for your friends and family. Take care of each other.
I've got contrasting views on the mask thing in that situation, right? So with that mask situation, think about what you're doing there with that situation, Rick. If somebody comes up to you and they don't have a mask on and you start shaming them, they're going to probably raise their voice and then start escalating their situation with you, spreading more of those droplets towards you. My best advice in that situation is just to avoid those people. Stay away from them.
It's not like,
Don't
okay,
escalate
first of
that
all,
situation because you don't want them to
do you
potentially
think
freak
I'm
out,
just
right?
going to go like tearing it up? Like,
Rick,
you're not
I've
wearing
seen you.
a
I've seen
mask.
you in public. Dude. You have
No, I
a
will
temper.
gladly. This is what'll happen. I will get 50 feet away from you and raise a couple, the double middles. Let you
Jump
know.
in your car, roll up your
And
windows,
then,
and start yelling.
I'm out of here. You roll up everything like I'm filtered. I can't breathe your silk. No, but to be honest, dude, don't be a piece of shit, dude. I don't care who's, it's not about politics and it's not about, what you believe or not. At this point, it's about all of us being in it together, and that's what matters. Let's get through this shit together. Wear a fucking mask. It sucks, but don't go out as much if you don't like it. That's the bottom line. If you go outside and talk to people, man, you don't have to wear a mask if you're 15 feet away from somebody outside in a nice breeze. Fuck it. Like that's totally sane. But when you're in a gas station or you're in a grocery store, just be courteous to everybody else, because we're not all in the same mindset. That's all I'm getting at.
Or
It's fair
evidently, if you're in a golf cart, then it's also okay not to wear a mask, right, Rick?
Yeah.
Well, how
That's
do you
true.
make out that's part of golf? So I don't know. Other than that, you guys have anything else you want to put out there? Because I'm about to shut the shit down. It's been an hour.
This is a 10-minute outro.
All right, I'm playing it one more time. We love you all. Have a good time. Thanks for listening to the special.
The reason why this podcast sucks and we have no fans is because Rick and damn Duper talk way too goddamn much.
This week, one of our own fought coronavirus. They said he was obese. They said his diet was poor. They said he was inviting COVID by his behavior. They said hosting a COVID fondue party was a bad idea. They said be afraid of the virus. Greg wasn't afraid to catch COVID. COVID was afraid to catch Greg. And when it did, Greg beat COVID's ass. Greg didn't let the virus dominate him. Greg dominated the virus because he's a goddamn hero. This is a true story of how Greg stuck it to COVID.